Fixing. Hello, everyone. Welcome to 10 Minutes Astrology, the best way to learn the astrology.
We said I was going to do the introduction today.
Start it again.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to 10 Minutes Astrology, the best way to learn astrology with professional astrologers in an easy way to learn astrology.
Oh my God. That's not only just a repeat, that's improved recipe.
Yeah, I'm retrograding, that's why.
Yeah, that's why. Today we're going to talk about retrograde. And it is a very interesting because when you look at retrograde planet in a psychological astrology way, it's not just bad.
As usual, of course, we don't just define things good or bad in psychological astrology. We usually we try to avoid the terms good and bad because they are a
Yes.
judgment, and those judgments comes from your own experience of life, so they're not objective realities. Yes.
I think today's episode can just stop here. This sentence sums up the best way to talk about psychological astrology.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, because it's not just good and bad, and that is because good and bad are based on the personal experience. And then, so when we talk to our client, you don't want to be judgmental. You don't want to sounds like he's sitting in front of you, pay you money, and listen to you criticize him for 1 hour or two.
Exactly.
Well, but
Yes.
some people enjoy it.
Of course, some people enjoy it. Yes. That's why
Yeah,
we have to do a lot of therapy, I think, before becoming astrologers. Or not necessarily therapy, but like work on ourselves. Yes.
yeah. Okay, so basically, we don't really need to go to the detail or technology term of about the retrograde planet because in the basically chart in the chart all the planet moving in one direction from Aries, Taurus to Gemini, this direction. But
Mhm.
from Earth's point of view, sometimes either the planet, the Earth supporting by the outer planet, or the different angle of the observation, it will cause the planet look like they are moving backward in their motion, and this suddenly become a kind of interesting topic on the social media about the retrograde planet, and they will even not really invent but added a lot of things in.
Especially with Mercury. I would like to say one thing that's important because I
Yeah,
think people get confused. When we
yeah.
say that the planet is retrograding and is moving backwards, I would emphasize what you said. The usual motion of the planet is to go from Aries to Taurus to Gemini.
Mm.
When the planet is retrograde, it means that instead of moving forward on the zodiac, it's moving backwards on the zodiac. So
Mm-hmm.
this means that if you look at the night sky, the
Mm-hmm.
planet will still rise from the east and set on
Mm.
the west. It's not like you're going to see the planet going backwards on the sky. It goes backwards on the zodiac. I think this is important because people, I think, sometimes get confused.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. So yes, that is only when you look into the detail. When you measure that stars, or you measure the planet against the background of stars, then you will notice
Exactly.
they are retrograde. So that's the only way you can learn that. So let's think
And
about. Yep, go on.
sorry, I would add for the Greeks
Mm-hmm.
who developed the astrology we use today, of course, something that was moving in reverse motion
Mm-hmm.
felt really threatening, felt like it was really bad. And that's why probably it got this color, it got misinterpreted today in modern times into being considered a bad thing for a planet. Because actually, quite often, for instance, in horary astrology, which
Mm-hmm.
follows the traditional
Mm-hmm.
rules,
Mm-hmm.
it's true that we consider a retrograde planet, sometimes we consider it debilitated, but it's
Mm-hmm.
also true that sometimes a retrograde planet can be interpreted in different ways.
Mm.
Like the person is making a new decision or unexpected decision, something unexpected will happen and you'll find what you were looking for. Maybe the planet is moving retrograde, means that the planet wants to make contact with
Mm.
another planet. So is setting the idea of the intention of somebody doing something because they really want to do it. So it doesn't necessarily. So in horary astrology, and I mentioned this because horary is like one of the schools of astrology that follows strict rules, let's
Yeah.
say. So maybe it is sometimes viewed as having this concept of good or bad, which I think if you dig deep into horary astrology, it's not so true. It doesn't really go through good or bad so easily, but it has this kind of, we have this idea, this fake idea about horary astrology saints with that. And in horary astrology, which follows strict rules, a retrograde planet is not always bad. Sometimes it indicates something actually really good. So I would say it's important to remember, yeah, that the context, the way we interpret is important.
Yeah. So you already mentioned, because lots of people, when the planet, let us move to the psychological astrology
Yes.
way, and about any planet in retrograde. Remember, the sun and the moon will not retrograde. Don't think in that. Okay, so we have a most famous one. The most famous one will be Mercury and the Venus, Mars, and well, the outer planet, I think from Jupiter onward, they spend their retrograde time maybe like 3 or 4 months a year.
Yes.
So that's why some astrologer really don't take their retrograde seriously. I mean, for Jupiter to Pluto, even include Chiron, because every year they will spend something like 3 to 4 months in retrograde. So they say there's no differences for those planets when they are retrograde. Well, but for the Mercury, it happens 3 times a year. Mercury happens every 18 months, and the Mars every 20, I think it's 22,
Yes, like
20,
almost 2 years.
yeah,
Yes.
22 months. So it's very rare for Venus and Mercury, Venus and Mars when retrograde. But it is very interesting how we interpret them in the modern psychological astrology.
So I would say, in my case, I do pay attention to Mercury, Venus, Mars, but I also pay attention to Jupiter and Saturn. Maybe I don't pay attention so much to Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. In a natal chart, there are other
Yeah, in the
techniques
natal
in which
chart.
you will pay attention. Um, and so the idea is that the planet is moving instead of moving forward. So the idea of the action of the planet being expressed outside, it goes backwards. So there is kind of an inner process of the planet. The planet goes inside, and so we have to deal with with the planet inside of us in our inner world. And this means that probably once we express that planet outside, it will express itself in a special way, in a more authentic way, in a personal way, in a less traditional way. It will express itself in a more creative way. That's what I would say it means.
Yeah, I think this is one thing how the modern astrologer going to interpret the things, because you don't need to go to follow that everyone should be the same. And this is today's, I think, is also our modern society trying to teach us. You don't need to be like everyone else. So you are allowed to be yourself. If your coding is backwards, go that way, then you go that way. So I think
Exactly.
that one thing I I love in the modern, you know, psychological astrology is that it allows people to grow in their own way, and and the astrologer has to train to not be judgmental and have to learn what our opinion of everything. So instead of say a retrograde planet is a strange in ancient time, this is strange and this is not good, because we don't like foreigner things. We don't like a strange thing. We like everything like a routine, like a usual. Then the retrograde planet is a bad sign. But in a modern society, we allowed everything to grow in their way, and retrograde planet become a signature. Let me put the word, the signature, a characteristic, a very different. So somehow you can even use that so-called not so good planet to become a, you know, very powerful statement, and the kind of make something big in your life.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Well, so I think this is a very important message when we reading our chart with those so-called the retrograde planet, because well, you may yes experience in that area, like for example, Venus retrograde, you may experience in the maybe friendship or the love life. You have to on and on, keep on and on and going, or trying to get the things you want, repeat several times,
Yes.
or maybe delay it, or maybe go different way. but don't get upset with it, because that's how you achieve to get the things you like. That's a Venus. With that Venus, you treasure it, you go very carefully, develop it very carefully, and that is your way. Not everyone go like, oh God, I love you, let's get married now.
Yeah, very good. Yes.
Yeah. So, well, next week we are going to talk about something else, but
I was not
is
going to see the chart.
oh, I have already like today is a retrograde day, so let's go
That's
back.
okay. Quickly, or no, if we run out of time, we can see it next time.
Yeah, no, let's do it.
So
Here we
here's the
are.
chart of Harvey Milk,
Yeah.
and we see he has Saturn retrograde
Yes.
in Capricorn in the 11th house.
Yes.
So Saturn is about a sense of authority, right?
Yeah.
So here it's in the 11th house and in Capricorn, so he's building his sense of authority and he wants to achieve that in a social environment. It's not an inner sense of authority. He wants to be the authority. But Saturn is retrograde, which means that probably he's going to develop his own sense of discipline, which is going to be different to what the world usually thinks of a disciplined person. And he's going to develop, yes, a different kind of authority, and a way of exerting authority which is more authentic, more personal, unique, and different to what people are used to. It's still going to be a Capricornian authority, so it's still going to be practical, and it's going to be goal-oriented and quite a strong figure of authority, right? But he's going to do it in a different way. He's going to do it in a personal way, in a way that has not been done before.
Yeah. I think it is very interesting about because of this person and about the things he's doing. I think he is the LGBTQ community's
Yes, exactly. He was one of the
important
first
figure.
who,
Yeah. And also become a mayor. So that even the movie talk about this person, and with a Saturn, but we have to consider everything together. But with the Saturn in the Capricorn, that would be, he know what he wants, but Saturn already have the meaning of slowly. But he still, with the retrograde, he still have to carry it out in a unusual way.
exactly.
Yeah.
And he was the one, who one of his strategies was he did something very special in when people were kind of, if you were gay, you could get fired, right?
Yeah.
So what he did was, we need everybody to come out.
Yeah.
They were usually protecting each other, and we're
Yeah.
like, don't say anything because you're going to be threatened. And his sense of exerting authority was the opposite, was like, we need everybody to come out of the closet so that people see that we're everywhere. That it's not like it's not an abnormality, it's not something weird that you need to hide. It's everywhere. And I think this was a very Saturn in Capricorn thing, but in a different way, right?
Yeah. True. Yes. Well, thanks everyone for watching today's 10 Minutes Astrology. Today we talk about retrograde planet, but next time we're going to talk about something similar, but with a little bit of fine detail, and that is the stationary planet, a stationary planet. And I will talk about a very different meaning between how we define the stationary planet and then how to interpret them. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.